So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to start a hat. Most important thing when you're starting is to make sure that you pull your yarn out of the middle here. Sometimes you have to grab in there and pull out a little bunch. You can see I've got a little bunch down here. That's okay. You don't ever want to take the piece that's on the outside because it gets tangled while you're using it and you're going to have a really nightmare time doing it. So let's go ahead and see how you get started. You're going to start with this little peg right here. That's there to help you anchor your yarn before you start wrapping it. And you do that by just wrapping it around several times. You don't want to tie it in a knot because later on you're going to need to loosen it and take it off. And you're going to start at the next peg right underneath that. And you're going to go from back to front, back to front, back to front, back to front. You go into the center of the loom here, wrap it around the front and go back to the back, all right? If you get one that looks like this, and you've gone the wrong way and you need to go back and fix it because this will make your hat look weird. You always want to go back to front and you should only have one loop in there. So you're going to go all the way around the hat. At first you'll go a little slow, but then you're going to find this is a really fast process and you can really get going quickly as you wrap this around. I'm going to go all the way around, back to the peg. Okay, I'm almost there. There I am, and I'm going to wrap another one around. I'm going to do 2 rows on the very first one. And I may have to get my fingers in there and slide these down so that they're not too close to the top. Okay? Back to front, back to front, back to front. And each time I just kind of use my left hand to scrunch them down and my right hand to wrap. Okay? You can also stop and go all the way around if you want like this before you wrap. That's up to you. Back to front, you're going to go around a second time till you're all the way back to the peg. And we're almost there. And we're there. We're back to the peg. So I wrap this one around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in my left hand, and I'm going to take this, and on the last one I've done, and I'm going to go over the loop. Once I do that, it'll hold the yarn in place and I don't have to hold it anymore. It'll keep the tension all the way around the loom, which is really nice. Now this first one is always a little tough. You can unwrap it if you need to. I don't usually need to. It usually kind of loosens enough on its own and you go over the first one. And then the second one will be easy. And you're going to go all the way around the hat. And I have my assistant here. He likes to knit too. You go all the way around the hat. This is your first row. Okay. Some people like to take it over this way, and you can do that if you want. I don't think you have as much control of it, and I don't think you can get going as quickly. So I like to take the hook down through the bottom and pull it over. And I think that when you do that, you can get going really fast on these because you have a little bit more control of the yarn. And there, look, we're already back to the front. So now I'm going to take the yarn, the tail of the yarn, and I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to start on the next one here, and I'm going to go back to front, back to front, back to front, and go back all the way around my hat again. This time the yarn's a little easier to work with. That first row always has a lot of tension and it's a little more difficult to work with. But you just go around and around and around. And that's what you do, the whole hat. You just keep going until you're finished. What I like to do, because I think the hats turn out a little nicer and I think they fit a little better, is I like to add a brim to the hat. So after I've got about this much yarn knit, like this much hanging out of the middle, I like to make a brim. And I'll show you how to do that next.